Hi dears, welcome you all to the learning platform of Muhasins nursing lecture. In the 1660s, there was a man named as Robert Hooke. He lived in Britain and he was a scientist. He was the first person who observed the cell. One day, he took a bark of an old oak tree and observed under microscope. The bark looked as if it was made of small rooms. It was a kind of house with many bedrooms. So he named that structure or rooms that he observed under the microscope as cell. The cell is a word that is derived from the Latin word cella, meaning small rooms. The study of cells are called as cell biology or cytology. It is a basic structural, functional and biological unit of all non-organisms. It is the smallest unit of all organisms, hence it has referred as the building blocks of life. It is believed that the cell has emerged on Earth at least before 3.5 billion years ago. The number of cells in plants and animals varies species from species. It has been estimated that somewhere around 40 trillion cells are there in the human body. And the brain accounts about 80 billion from these cells. So today, we will discuss regarding the structure of cell and the types of cell in detail. So we can start the topic. Every living organism falls into one of the two groups, prokaryotes or eukaryotes. Cellular structure determines which group an organism belongs to. Prokaryotes were the first form of life. Scientists believe that eukaryotes evolved from prokaryotes around 2.7 billion years ago. The single-celled organisms of the domains bacteria and archaea are classified as prokaryotes, while animal, plant, protozoa, fungi, algae are all eukaryotes. Let's have a discussion regarding prokaryotic cell. So what is this prokaryotic cell? How we can define prokaryotic cell? Prokaryotes are unicellular organisms that lack membrane-bound structures, the most noteworthy of which is the nucleus. Prokaryotic cells tend to be small, simple cells measuring around 0.1 to 5 micrometer in diameter. So it is a unicellular organism which doesn't contains nucleus. So here you can see that there is no nucleus or nucleolus, but instead we have seen some genetic materials which is placed in a nucleoid region. Next, we will have a look on prokaryotic cell features. First one, that is nucleoid. Nucleoid is a central region of the cell that contains its DNA. DNA consists of the genetic information for the development of prokaryotes. So, in this picture you can see here the genetic materials have placed in a central area of the prokaryotes, which is termed as the nucleoid. Next one, ribosomes. Ribosomes are responsible for the protein synthesis. You have seen the dot-like appearance, which is the indications of ribosome. It is going to create the protein molecules, which involves amino acid synthesis, transcription, translation, and post-translational events. Next, that is cell wall. So here you can see the cell wall, which provides the structure and protection from the outside environment. Most of the bacteria have a rigid cell wall, and that is made from the carbohydrates and proteins, which is termed as peptidoglycans, which will protect the prokaryotes from the external forces and external stress also. Next one, cell membrane. Every prokaryote has a cell membrane, which is also known as plasma membrane. The plasma membrane, which separates the cell from the outside environment. It is a clear boundary of the cell from the external environment, and it has various other functions also. So in this diagram you can see here, this is called as cell membrane, which is going to separate the cell from the outside environment also. It has various other functions. In the coming video, we will discuss regarding the functions of cell membrane in detail. Next, capsule. Some bacteria have a layer of carbohydrates that surrounds the cell wall, which is called as capsule. So what is its function? The capsule helps the bacterium attach to the surfaces. So you can see here this color. So this is called as capsule. It helps the bacterium to attach to the surfaces. It is a deemed part of the outer envelope of the bacterial cell. It is a well organized layer, not easier to flush off, and it can be the cause of various diseases. Next, fimbriae. So fimbriae is a thin hair-like structures that help in cellular attachment. So here you can see that the small hairy appearances, hair-like appearances, what you have seen in the diagram, which is termed as a fimbriae. It is very much helpful for the cellular attachment on the other surfaces. It can be present both in the gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria. Next one, pili. Pili are rod-shaped structures involved in multiple roles, including attachment and DNA transfer. So here you can see the rod-shaped structure, which is called as pili. This can be present only in some gram-negative bacteria. The pilus has a shaft, which is composed of a protein called as pilin. So both these fimbriae and pili, both organelles of adhesions along the bacteria to colonize environmental surfaces or cells and resist flushing. Then the last one, that is called as flagella. Flagella are thin tail-like structures that assist in movement. So you can see here, this is called as flagella, which has very important role in the locomotion of the bacteria. So the word flagella means whip. Flagella have the whip-like appearance that helps to propel a cell through the liquid medium. Flagella can be seen in the archaea, bacteria, and eukaryotes. And prokaryotes also consist of cytoplasm. We can see here cytoplasm also can be seen in the prokaryotes, which is filled with fluid. Next, we can discuss regarding eukaryotic cell. So what is this eukaryotic cell? How we can define it? The eukaryotes are organisms whose cells have a nucleus and other membrane bonded organelles. These cells are large, that is around 10 to 100 micrometer and complex. While most eukaryotes are multicellular organisms, there are some single cell eukaryotes also. So we can see that many membrane bonded organelles here, such as nucleus, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus. So these all internal structures have specific and various functions inside the cell. The next we will move to the overview of the components of the cell. Then the first one, that is nucleus. The nucleus is area. So this is a nucleus which stores the genetic information in the chromatin form. It is a membrane bound organelle that contains the cell's chromosomes. We can see there is a pores in the nucleus, so through which the nucleus membrane can allow for the passage of molecules in and out of the nucleus. Next one, nucleolus. Nucleolus can be seen inside the nucleus and it is a part of eukaryotic cells where the ribosomal RNA is produced. It is a dynamic membrane. This is a dynamic membraneless structure whose primary function is RNA synthesis and ribosome biogenesis. So it has very important role in the production of RNA and the biogenesis of RNA. Next one, Plasma membrane. So the plasma membrane is a phospholipid bilayer which surrounds the entire cell and encompasses the organelles within. So it is going to give a proper structure to the cell. So you can see here, it is a barrier, it is a protective covering, it protects the cell from the external environment, and it is also called as cell membrane. It regulates the transport of materials entering and exiting the cells. It has various other functions also. Next, centrioles. So what is centrioles? Centrioles are paired barrel-shaped organelles located in the cytoplasm. So we can see here, just near to the nuclear envelope. It has very good role, very important play in organizing the microtubules that serve as the cell's skeletal system. They also help to determine the location of the nucleus and other organelles within the cell. Next, ribosome. Ribosomes are responsible for the protein synthesis. So you can see small dotted structure which is round, which has very important role and which is responsible for the synthesis of protein or the production of protein, which can lead to the many other process, transcription and translation and post-translation events also. Next, mitochondria. Mitochondria is also known as the powerhouse of the cell. So you can see here. So this all structure we can see here. This is responsible for the production of energy. At the same time, this is a membrane-bound cell organelle that generate most of the chemical energy needed to power the cell's biochemical reactions. As we all know that there is many chemical reactions, biochemical reactions is taking place inside the cell, which needs energy. This energy will be produced by the mitochondria. And the energy produced by the mitochondria is stored in a small molecule called ATP or adenosine triphosphate. Next, cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a region of the cell between the nuclear envelope and plasma membrane. So this area, all this area is covering this area which is called as cytoplasm. It is composed of water, salts and various organic molecules also. So we can see that there are many, we can see the presence of water, we can see many molecules, many structures which is present in the cytoplasm. Next, cytosol. Cytosol is a gel-like substance within the cell that contains the organs. So here you can see there is a gel-like appearance inside the cell that is in the cytoplasm. It is filled with gel-like fluid that is called as cytosol. And cytosol itself is enclosed by the cell membrane. Next one, endoplasmic reticulum. So this is endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum is an organelle dedicated to protein maturation and transportation. So once the ribosome which is produced inside the nucleus has come out through the nuclear pores and it is reaching to the endoplasmic reticulum, there it is working for the maturation and transportation of the protein to the sites. And it can be either smooth or rough. We have rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough also we have, smooth also we have. So where we can see the presence of ribosome is called as rough endoplasmic reticulum. So in the coming videos, we will discuss in detail regarding the endoplasmic reticulum. Next one, vesicles and vacuoles. So these are membrane bound sacs involved in transportation and storage. So here you can see that the vesicles stores water, nutrients, enzymes, waste, harmful compounds and ions. These are small in size and found in large number in the cell. Vesicles can fuse with other membranes within the cell system. But in case of vacuoles, it is somewhat bigger than the vesicles and it doesn't fuse with the membranes of the other cellular compartment. In animal cell, vacuoles are generally small and help to sequester waste products. But in plants, it is going to help to maintain the water balance. Next, the other common organelles found in many but not all eukaryotes includes the Golgi apparatus and lysosome. So we can see the Golgi apparatus here and lysosomes also. So what is this Golgi apparatus? This is responsible for the transporting, modifying and packaging the proteins and lipids. It is termed as the post office of the cell because it is functioning for the collection, sorting out and transporting the materials to the destined area. That's why it is termed as post office of the cell. In case of lysosome, so what is this lysosome? It is a membrane-bound cell that contains digestive enzyme. They break down excess or worn-out cell parts. At the same time, they also destroy invading bacteria and virus. In addition to this structure, the plant cell have other structures also. For example, cell wall. So what is this cell wall? The cell wall which provides extra support for the cell and gives it a shape. In other words, if there was no cell wall, then the cell would have no shape. The cell wall which gives the plant cell its unique rectangular shape. Another structure, that is chloroplast. So chloroplasts are the organelles within a plant cell and it is acting as a site of photosynthesis, which convert the light energy into relatively stable chemical energy through photosynthesis. It is not only doing the photosynthesis, it has also provide diverse metabolic activities for plant cell. Last one, that is chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is nothing but it refers to a pigment responsible for the green color in the plants. So the green color what we are seeing in the plant is mainly because of the presence of chlorophyll. Till now, we have discussed regarding the structure of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. We have seen that what is the structural differences between the prokaryotics and eukaryotics. So we can conclude what we have derived from this lecture. We'll see one by one. So what is the comparison between the prokaryotes and eukaryotes? What is the differences between these two? In the eukaryotes, we can see membrane-bound nucleus that we have already discussed. In prokaryote, we cannot see that. Eukaryote, we can see the nucleus where they are going to store the genetic information. But in prokaryotes, the DNA is bundled together in the nucleoid region. Eukaryote consists of DNA. It is double-stranded DNA. But in prokaryote, it is double-stranded and circular. But in case of eukaryote, it is a linear DNA. Let's see the similarities. Even though they have many differences between the prokaryote and eukaryote, they have certain similarities. So we'll see that the similarities between them, that is both consist of DNA, then both of them have plasma membrane which will define them, which will define their structure, which will give them the protection. Then they have cytoplasm, both of them have. Then both of them have ribosomes also for the synthesis of protein. The cell concept is like an axis around which the whole modern science of life revolves. This is not my word. This is the word of Paul Ehrlich, who was a very famous German scientist and physician who has given much contribution to the exploration of the cell. The cells of your body is like a trillion light bulbs. When you relax, purify, and connect to the sources, you are a power of light. Let the power of light enlighten and purify your heart and soul. We will explore more information regarding the cell in the coming videos. Till then, bye. Be safe. Thank you all.